The shadows of Sung Jinwoo. They're not just a terrifying army of darkness, they're iconic, loyal, and in some cases, even beloved by fans around the world. From the silent knight Igris to the devastating might of Kamish, each shadow in Jinwoo's army carries its own story, its own powers, and a surprising level of depth. But have you ever wondered which shadow truly stands above the rest? Welcome back to your Nerdy Show Anime. I'm your host, Anshuhim. Let's dive into every shadow soldier of Jinwoo, explore their backstories, powers, personalities, and rank them by strength and importance, culminating in who we believe is the strongest shadow of them all. Igris. Let's start with Igris, the very first major shadow Jinwoo extracted. Clad in crimson armor and wielding a long sword with deadly precision, Igris served Ashbourne himself, the original Shadow Monarch, before Jinwoo inherited the title. He was no mere pawn, he was a test. When Jinwoo defeated him in the Demon Castle, he didn't just win a fight. He passed a trial that put him one step closer to his destiny. At first, Igris wasn't flashy. He was silent, stoic, and often stayed in the background. But after Jinwoo ascended to his true power as the new Shadow Monarch, Igris underwent a major upgrade, leaping from a light knight all the way up to martial grade. He became one of the few shadows capable of understanding complex human emotions, and even developed his own sense of style and honor. Despite being overshadowed early by others, Igris remains a symbol of loyalty and someone you definitely wouldn't want to meet on the battlefield. Beru, next up. Beru, the terrifying yet oddly charming former Ant King. Beru was born during the chaos of the Jeju Island arc. As the Ant King, he was ruthless, intelligent, and dangerously powerful. A creature that wiped out S-rank hunters like they were nothing. But when Jinwoo finally took him down and turned him into a shadow, Beru became something even more dangerous. A martial grade shadow with a personality. He could speak fluently, understand orders with nuance, and even got a bit dramatic. Remember when he asked Jinwoo for a name? Beru, inspired by the author of The Ants. You gotta love the humor in that. One of Beru's most iconic moments came during his sparring match with Cha Hai-in. Jinwoo told him not to hurt her, and Beru tried, but his primal instincts almost took over. That moment showed us that Beru wasn't just a machine. He had emotion. He had pride. And when he nearly went berserk, we saw just how dangerous he could really be. Power-wise, Beru was untouchable for a long time, but someone stronger eventually arrived. Bellion enter Bellion, the Grand Marshal. If Beru was a nightmare, Bellion was the final boss. Bellion is no ordinary shadow. He was the first shadow ever created by Ashbourne. Born from the World Tree, a massive mythical tree whose branches could block out the sky, Bellion was Ashbourne's right hand, his lieutenant, and the ultimate embodiment of shadow authority. When Bellion arrived on Earth through a massive gate that sent every S-rank hunter into panic mode, it was obvious that something major was about to happen. Bellion didn't disappoint. He immediately challenged Beru, and despite Beru's overwhelming strength, Bellion dominated the sparring match without even trying. He commands the entire original Shadow Army, and his title, Grand Marshal, isn't just for show. Bellion is the strongest shadow under Jinwoo, second only to the Shadow Monarch himself. If power, experience, and command ability were everything, Bellion would win this debate hands down. But we're not done yet. Iron. Let's rewind a bit and talk about Iron, the shadow of Kim Chul. Remember him? The aggressive, arrogant A-rank hunter who tried to kill Jinwoo and paid for it with his life. After Iron was born from Kim Chul's corpse, he became the comic relief of the Shadow Army. He wasn't very smart, but he was loyal and strong. With a massive axe and a tendency to charge in head first, Iron had his moments. He helped kill Baruka, the powerful ice elf, and eventually rose to elite knight grade. Not bad for someone who started as a minor player. Iron might not be the strongest, but he's got heart, even if it's made of shadows. Tusk. Now, let's talk about Tusk, the magic powerhouse. Originally a high orc shaman named Kargalgan, Tusk was no joke. During the Demon Castle arc, he gave Jinwoo a serious challenge, and even after death, he resisted being extracted as a shadow multiple times, a rare feat that speaks to his willpower. But once Jinwoo succeeded, Tusk became a magic artillery unit. He kept his shamanistic powers and could decimate entire armies with AoE spells. When it came to magical firepower, Tusk was unmatched in Jinwoo's army, a strategic ace in every battle. If you needed a battlefield cleared, Tusk was your guy. Greed is next, and he's got a darker origin. Greed was once Hwang Dong-soo, a cruel S-rank hunter from the US who tortured Jinwoo's friend Jinho. After defeating him, Jinwoo didn't hesitate. He extracted Hwang's shadow and named him Greed. Jinwoo even humiliated him on his first day as a shadow by making him bow. Greed wasn't the most powerful, but his origin and symbolic role made him stand out. He was a trophy, a reminder of Jinwoo's vengeance and growth. Of course, in the new timeline after the Cup of Reincarnation, Greed was erased from existence, and Hwang Dong-soo got a second chance at life with no memory of what happened. Kaizel, let's talk speed, or more accurately, Kaizel, the Wyvern. Kaizel was originally the battle mount of Baran, the monarch of White Flame. After Baran's death, Jinwoo extracted Kaizel and named him simply because he didn't remember the Wyvern's original name. Kaizel wasn't the strongest shadow in terms of combat, but he was a huge strategic asset. He gave Jinwoo the ability to fly, scout, and travel the globe at insane speed. Kaizel was the reason Jinwoo could be anywhere, anytime. The public even freaked out when they spotted him flying in the night sky. It's hard to stay anonymous when your pet is a flying death lizard. Tank. Let's not forget Tank, the alpha ice bear from the Red Gate. Tank is exactly what his name implies, a massive, unstoppable beast with a glowing scar and unmatched brute strength. He might not talk, but he can definitely crush. As a night grade shadow, Tank could rip through demon hordes and one-shot powerful enemies like they were made of paper. Despite his animalistic nature, Tank showed intelligence too, especially when working alongside Iron. He's one of the more underrated shadows, but a fan favorite for anyone who loves raw power. Jima is another lesser-known shadow, but not one to ignore. Jima was the shadow of a powerful Naga boss. As an elite night grade shadow, Jima had great physical strength, regeneration, and the unique ability to grow in size using mana. He even one-shot a giant once. Not bad for someone who joined the army late. He may not have the personality of Beru or the legacy of Bellion, but in terms of battlefield utility, Jima is a solid pick. Kamish now. It's time to talk about Kamish, the dragon that terrorized the world. Kamish was no joke. He was the boss of the first ever S-rank gate, and his rampage on the American West Coast was the stuff of legend. Only 5 hunters survived their encounter with him. Everyone else, dead. Kamish was originally a servant of Antares, the monarch of destruction. His power was so immense that after his death, his body was preserved, his fang turned into a legendary weapon, and his essence stone locked away because no one could handle it.